Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Jonathan Kuminga is constantly in conflict with the Warriors and coach Steve Kerr. The player wants to be a starter and get a lot of minutes, but coach Steve Kerr has not allowed it. Although Kuminga is a great player and a candidate to be a star, Steve Kerr prefers to keep him in the rotation. Due to these problems, Kuminga will probably not stay with the Warriors and it will be difficult for him to sign a contract extension. Kuminga will leave the Warriors after this season and his destination could be the Brooklyn Nets, but there are other teams that want the valuable player. Warriors projected to lose budding star to $105 million bid. Rising star Jonathan Kuminga may be playing the last stretch of an up-and-down 4-year stint with the Golden State Warriors. Bleacher Report's salary cap expert predicts Kuminga, who will become a restricted free agent after this season, to leave the Warriors to sign with the Brooklyn Nets. Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors were far apart in extension talks this past fall. The Nets could gamble that a solid offer is enough to pry the forward loose for less than he wants but more than Golden State will pay. They could give him a 4-year, $105.5 million offer sheet starting at $28.5 million, if it descends. Brooklyn can include a trade kicker and advances to try to swing Kuminga its way, Pincus wrote. Since Kuminga is a restricted free agent, Pincus noted that the Warriors can match any offer that the Nets make, but with luxury taxes, aprons, and a heavy commitment to Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green over the next 2 years, they may have a limit on how much they'd spend to retain Kuminga. Kuminga's camp was aiming for a $35 million annual average salary, The Athletic reported in the fall, but the Warriors were only willing to go $30 million. But so much has changed since then. They now have an expensive trio of veteran stars that leaves little room for them to accommodate Kuminga's wishes to get paid like an ascending star. The Warriors have roughly $166 million in guaranteed salaries for 7 players led by their star trio and role players Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski and Tracy Jackson-Davis. The NBA salary cap for next season has been pegged at $154.6 million next season, per ESPN's Bobby Marks, with the luxury tax threshold at $187.9 million. The first apron is at $195.9 million and a second apron limit at $207.8 million. That will leave the Warriors roughly $29 million cap room under the first apron and $37 million under the second apron and the taxpayer mid-level exception to sign 7 more players to reach the league minimum of 14. They could theoretically pay Kuminga an annual average salary of $30 million, then flesh out the rest of the roster with veteran minimums. Another option is to flip Hield's $9.2 million salary into 2 serviceable players. Nevertheless, the Warriors have to do cap gymnastics to keep Kuminga. And that is, if Kuminga wants to stay in the Bay given that he is likely to come off the bench due to the spacing issues with Butler, which is holding back Golden State coach Steve Kerr from pairing them in the starting unit. Jimmy is, I've talked about this, he's one of the best isolation players in the league, Kerr said, per The Athletic's Anthony Slater, following Thursday's practice in New Orleans. So if you're gonna run ISO offense, you need spacing, proper cutting and proper movement. Jimmy just got here, obviously, 1 month ago, so we're still adapting your spacing. Within those isolation plays, requires us to put the right combinations out there and teach the guys where to be and how to connect the plays, and JK is still adapting. Butler and Kuminga have shared the court for 76 minutes since the latter returned from a 32-game absence due to a significant ankle sprain. And in those tiny small sample size, they have a -18.1 net rating and the Warriors have been outscored by 28 points, according to Mercury News' Danny Immerman. The Nets have the cap room, the playing time and a starting role to offer Kuminga if they pursue him in the offseason, which leaves the Warriors at a great disadvantage. Warriors Jonathan Kuminga reposts cryptic message amid career setback. Golden State Warriors rising star Jonathan Kuminga reposted a cryptic post on Instagram as he faces another career setback, a pelvic contusion that has caused him to miss their last game and makes him questionable to play in Thursday's marquee matchup against the Los Angeles Lakers. But did you congratulate yourself on the progress that no one knows about? Honor yourself, the quote said, which Kuminga reposted on his Instagram story. The original post was made by his personal photographer, IG, on Instagram. Jonathan Kuminga is at a crossroads. Kuminga is facing a crossroads in his young NBA career as he enters restricted free agency after this season. The 22-year-old forward was playing the best stretch of his young NBA career before a significant right ankle sprain cost him 32 games. Kuminga had 17 straight double-digit scoring games, including 8 20-plus point scoring games. He had 3 games in which he scored more than 30 points, including a back-to-back career-high 34 in late December. Over his last 17 games before the ankle injury, Kuminga averaged 19.8 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 2.5 assists while shooting 46.7% from the field and 37.3% from the three-point line. He was the Warriors' second leading scorer behind Stephen Curry. But during his long layoff, the Warriors made a blockbuster trade to acquire 6-time NBA All-Star Jimmy Butler, who is a much better and more experienced version of Kuminga. Kuminga was averaging 13.1 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 2.4 assists in 21.5 minutes as the Warriors' sixth man in 9 games since he returned. But he was only shooting 15.8% from the three-point line, which kept Kerr from playing him together with Butler for longer stretches. A limited role and now another injury is challenging his resolve once again. Depressed free agent market. A rival NBA executive dropped a solid intel on Kuminga's upcoming restricted free agency that the Brooklyn Nets, the Warriors' biggest threat in retaining the rising forward, are more likely to use their cap room on trades than throwing large offer sheets. They've sent the message that if they do anything major with their space, it's likely going to be through trade, not signings, the rival executive told ESPN's Brian Windhorst. Even if that trade doesn't happen this summer, they'll want to keep their options open. That puts Kuminga at a great disadvantage in extension talks with the Warriors. A prominent agent painted the worst picture that might make Kuminga regret his camp's decision not to accept the Warriors' offer in their failed extension talks last year. Actually, it's no leverage, the prominent agent told Windhorst. I've prepared my clients for a free agent recession this summer. Next year will be different, the cap will be going up and teams will clean up their books as they deal with the new spending rules. So you may have to wait and try again. Kuminga's camp was aiming for a $35 million annual average salary, The Athletic reported in the fall, but the Warriors were only willing to go $30 million. The former lottery pick might be forced to settle for less than what he could have received last year. Warriors' ideal postseason lineup has no weak links despite clear missing pieces. The Golden State Warriors, since trading for Jimmy Butler, have been one of the best teams in the league. Not only are they 18-5 during that stretch, but both Draymond Green and Stephen Curry seem revitalized and have been playing at their highest level in recent years. However, they aren't the only stars feeling the effects of Jimmy buckets. The rest of the lineup is firing on all cylinders, and even though Golden State has used multiple lineups with Butler in town, one starting unit is solidifying itself ahead of the postseason. Butler, Curry, and Green are undefeated when they start the game with Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski. The five-man lineup has played 133 minutes together, the most of any lineup on the team despite Butler's late addition. They outscored their opponents by more than 20 points per 100 possessions, and despite not having a true center, rebound slightly better. After making it clear that the lineup has no shortcomings despite an obvious hole, the Dubs can ride the success into the postseason. Both Moody and Podziemski know that they don't have the same clout as Butler, Green, and Curry, and know they are the other guys when people talk about the team, but they pride themselves on an ability to rise to the occasion. Related, Draymond Green reveals who his biggest rival always has been. We make sure when teams look at us, they don't look at us as the weak links out there, Podziemski said to NBC Sports Bay Area. Both Podziemski and Moody are playing some of the best basketball of their career, and if they keep it up, it's hard to imagine Golden State facing an early exit.